There's a reason most people never taste greatness, because they keep looking for shortcuts to a place that only pain can take them. They want the glory, but not the grinds. They want the prize, but not the process. They want success to feel comfortable, easy, and convenient. But the truth is, it never will. The grind doesn't speak to the weak. It doesn't reward the lazy. It doesn't care about your excuses, your past, or your comfort zone. It cares about one thing: how far you're willing to go when it stops being easy. And that's where beast mode begins. That's where average people are separated from unstoppable ones. You see, the problem isn't that people don't have dreams. The problem is they treat their dreams like a hobby instead of a mission. They keep saying, "On day, when I'm ready, when the timing's right," as if life is going to wait for them to get serious. But life doesn't wait. It moves, it pushes, it tests. And the only ones who win are those who refuse to stop. Every time you say, "I'll start tomorrow," you feed the part of yourself that's comfortable with losing. Every time you make an excuse, you teach your mind to settle for less. You don't need another plan, another quote, or another push. You need to wake up and decide you're done being average. Beast mode isn't just about muscles or money. It's about mentality. It's about that switch that flips in your head when you realize no one's coming to save you. No one's going to hand you discipline. No one's going to drag you out of bed and tell you to fight for your future. You've got to become the kind of person who looks in the mirror and says, "If I don't do it, no one will." That's where everything changes. That's when life starts bending to your will. Because when you stop waiting for motivation and start moving with purpose, you become dangerous. You start seeing challenges as opportunities. You start craving pressure instead of running from it. You start living with fire in your chest and vision in your eyes. The grind is not a season. It's a lifestyle. It's not something you do when you feel like it. It's something you do because you must. Because deep down, you know you were not built for comfort. You were built for greatness. Every single time you step out of your comfort zone, you evolve. Every single time you push through fear, you get stronger. And every single time you refuse to quit, you become more unstoppable. So if you're tired of waiting, if you're sick of comfort, if you're ready to unlock that animal inside you, then it's time to flip the switch. It's time to step into the fire, because the grind never stops. And if you want to rise, neither can you. Comfort is the silent killer of dreams. It's the invisible enemy that sneaks into your life, convinces you that you're fine where you are, and slowly robs you of your hunger, your fire, your edge. You don't even notice it happening at first. You start skipping the early mornings, taking a few more breaks, settling for good enough. Before you know it, you've built a life around playing small, calling it peace, when really it's fear disguised as comfort. You tell yourself you're happy, but deep down, you feel that ache, that quiet knowing that you're capable of more, but you've stopped reaching for it. Comfort doesn't come to protect you. It comes to trap you. It keeps you warm, but it keeps you weak. Growth never happens in comfort. Every single breakthrough in your life will demand that you leave what's easy, what's familiar, what's safe. You can't evolve by staying where you're unchallenged. The gym only builds muscle through resistance. The mind only becomes sharp through struggle. The soul only becomes strong through pain. Yet most people will do anything to avoid discomfort. They want the dream, but not the grind. They want success, but not the sacrifice. They want growth, but they don't want to be stretched. They want to feel like beasts, but they live like sheep, staying where it's warm, soft, and predictable. But a beast doesn't grow in comfort. It grows in chaos. It grows through hunger, through challenge, through struggle. The truth is, the moment you get comfortable, you start dying. You stop learning. You stop evolving. You stop fighting. Comfort gives you just enough pleasure to keep you from chasing purpose. It whispers, "You've done enough." It tells you, "You deserve a break." And soon, that break becomes a habit. That habit becomes your identity. And that identity becomes your cage. You start living beneath your potential because you've forgotten what it feels like to push. And when you don't push, you don't grow. Comfort keeps you small by making you satisfied with average. But average was never meant for you. Deep down, you know it. That's why comfort never feels truly comfortable, because your soul knows it doesn't belong there. When you leave the comfort zone, everything changes. You start seeing what you're truly made of. You start realizing how much power you've been hiding behind fear. Every uncomfortable situation, every rejection, every failure, every challenge is a mirror showing you your potential. The people who live extraordinary lives aren't the ones who had it easy. They're the ones who faced the fire and didn't run. They built a tolerance for discomfort. They didn't wait to feel ready. They acted. They failed. They learned. They adapted. They grew. Because they understood that the pain of growth is temporary, but the pain of staying the same lasts forever. If you want to activate the beast inside you, you have to stop making comfort your goal. You have to start chasing challenge. Because challenge is where confidence is born. Every time you step into something that scares you, every time you do something that stretches you, you build strength. You teach your mind that fear doesn't control you. You teach your body that it can go further than it thought. You teach your soul that greatness doesn't come from comfort. It comes from confrontation. You have to confront your laziness, your excuses, your limits. That's the battle. That's where transformation happens. Not when it's easy, but when it's hard, when it hurts, when you want to quit, but you don't. Comfort will give you false peace. It'll make you think you're safe. But safety and success don't live in the same place. Safety is where dreams go to die quietly. Every great person you admire had to leave the safe zone. They had to risk embarrassment, failure, rejection, pain, all to reach a level of life that most people never experience because most people never leave their comfort zone. You can't claim to want greatness and keep running back to what's easy. You can't say you want to change your life and keep living the same patterns. Growth starts the moment you do something that makes you uncomfortable. And if it doesn't scare you a little, it's not big enough. You have to train your mind to crave discomfort the way others crave ease. You have to teach yourself that comfort is not your friend. It's your test. When you feel it pulling you back, that's when you push harder. That's when you double down. Because every time you step out of that comfort zone, you grow stronger, wiser, sharper. Every time you choose discomfort over ease, you upgrade your mindset. And that's the real prize. Not just what you achieve, but who you become in the process. You become tougher. You become more disciplined. You become unstoppable. Leaving comfort is a choice, and you'll have to make it daily. Every morning, your bed will feel soft. The world will feel heavy. And the temptation to stay where it's easy will whisper your name. But the beast in you doesn't negotiate with comfort. It doesn't wait for perfect conditions. It wakes up hungry. It moves. It grinds. It grows. The beast knows that comfort is a lie. The beast knows that pain is the path. The beast knows that while the weak are resting, it's getting stronger. You have to decide which one you'll be. The one who seeks comfort or the one who seeks conquest. The truth is, your dream is waiting on the other side of discomfort. Your potential, your success, your legacy. They're all hiding behind the walls you're too afraid to climb. The longer you stay comfortable, the more you delay your destiny. Life is not about feeling good. It's about becoming great. And becoming great will cost you something. It will cost you comfort. It will cost you convenience. It will cost you excuses. But what you gain in return, strength, power, purpose, will make every ounce of struggle worth it. So if you want to live in beast mode, you've got to get addicted to the uncomfortable. You've got to train yourself to step into the unknown, to do what others won't, to stay in the fire long enough to rise from it stronger. That's how you build a mentality that can't be broken. That's how you turn from average to animal, from comfort seeker to conqueror. You can't avoid the pain. You have to embrace it. You can't escape the grind. You have to love it. Because that's where the beast lives, not in the comfort zone, but far beyond it, where most people stop and the chosen few keep going. That's where greatness begins. That's where you're reborn. When you step out of your comfort zone, you begin to rewrite the story of your life. Most people stay stuck because they never dare to live beyond what's easy, familiar, or safe. The comfort zone feels warm, predictable, and secure. But it's also where dreams go to die. It's the quiet killer of potential, the invisible trap that convinces you to settle for less when you're capable of so much more. The second you decide to leave your comfort zone, you send a message to yourself and to the world that you refuse to be average, that you're not here to exist quietly. You're here to grow, to evolve, to dominate. Because the truth is, nothing great has ever been built from comfort. Growth and comfort do not coexist. One will always destroy the other. If you want to grow, if you want to see how powerful you really are, you have to make peace with being uncomfortable. You have to stop running from the pressure and start running toward it. Every single person who ever became something extraordinary had to make that painful choice to leave behind what was easy. Think about it. Every champion, every innovator, every great leader you admire had to walk away from the world's approval to find their true purpose. That's the price of evolution. You don't find yourself in comfort. You lose yourself there. You find yourself in the moments of resistance, in the moments where your mind screams, I can't, but your spirit whispers, watch me. That's where the beast is born, in the struggle, in the sacrifice, in the silence where nobody claps for you. When you step out of your comfort zone, you strip yourself of excuses, of laziness, of softness. You replace them with courage, resilience, and a hunger that can't be taught. It must be earned. You see, the comfort zone has one job: to keep you small. It makes you afraid of failure, afraid of judgment, afraid of the unknown. It tricks you into believing that being safe is the same as being happy. But safety is not fulfillment. It's a cage with invisible bars. And most people never leave it because they confuse comfort with peace. Comfort isn't peace, it's paralysis. Real peace comes from progress, from knowing that every day you're becoming better, sharper, stronger. When you stay in your comfort zone, you're not protecting yourself, you're betraying yourself. You're betraying the person you were born to be, because deep down, you know you're capable of more. You feel it when you wake up. You feel it when you're alone at night. That whisper that says, there's more for you. That's your potential begging you to move. And until you listen to it, until you act on it, that whisper will turn into a scream. The pain of growth is temporary, but the pain of staying the same lasts forever. Every time you choose comfort, you're saying no to your evolution. You're saying no to opportunities that could have changed your life. You're saying no to the greatness waiting inside you. But when you choose discomfort, when you choose challenge, something inside you begins to awaken. You start to respect yourself differently. You start to see what you're really capable of. You start to realize that what you thought was impossible is just unpracticed. That's the beauty of leaving your comfort zone. It changes the way you see yourself. You stop seeing limits. You stop seeing obstacles. You start seeing possibilities. You start realizing that pressure doesn't break you, it builds you. People ask for confidence, but confidence doesn't come from comfort. It comes from courage. Confidence is built when you step into the unknown and prove to yourself that you can survive it. It's when you face your fears, fail, get back up, and keep pushing. That's when real strength is created. Your comfort zone will never offer you that gift. It will only offer you the illusion of safety while quietly suffocating your potential. You don't become unstoppable by staying where it's easy. You become unstoppable by walking through fear and realizing it can't control you. You become unstoppable when you choose purpose over pleasure, growth over gratification, evolution over excuses. Leaving your comfort zone doesn't mean recklessly chasing pain. It means choosing growth over stagnation. It means doing the thing you've been avoiding. It means starting the project you keep delaying, having the conversation you keep escaping, waking up earlier than your mind wants, training harder than your body feels ready for, speaking when your voice shakes, believing in yourself when the world doubts you. It's about becoming addicted to progress. Because once you taste the satisfaction that comes from doing what you thought you couldn't do, comfort starts to feel like poison. You'll never want to go back. Every time you step out of your comfort zone, you expand it. What was once terrifying becomes normal. What was once impossible becomes your new baseline. That's how growth works. It's not about giant leaps. It's about consistent discomfort. Small steps every single day that stretch your limits until those limits no longer exist. And eventually, you'll look back and realize that the things that used to scare you don't even shake you anymore. That's the moment you'll know you've evolved. So stop waiting for the perfect moment to start. It doesn't exist. Stop waiting for motivation. It won't last. Stop waiting for the fear to go away. It never will. Move anyway. Push anyway, go anyway, because the grind, the journey, the pain, that's where your greatness is forged. The person you're meant to become is waiting for you outside the walls of your comfort zone. You just have to step out. Not tomorrow, not next week, now. Because every second you wait is a second you lose. Every day you stay comfortable is a day you waste your potential. And one day, if you're not careful, you'll look back and realize you never lived your life. You just survived it. The beast inside you is not sleeping, it's starving. It's waiting for you to stop protecting your fears and start pursuing your purpose. Comfort is the enemy of that beast. It makes you tame when you were born to be wild. So break the cycle, leave the comfort, step into the fire, because that's where legends are made, and that's where you'll find who you truly are. Discipline is the difference between dreaming and doing. You can talk all day about success. You can write goals on your wall. You can hype yourself up with motivational videos. But if you don't have the discipline to follow through when the excitement fades, none of it matters. Discipline is the silent force that separates the great from the average, the committed from the comfortable, and the unstoppable from the unmotivated. It's not about how you feel, it's about what you do when you don't feel like doing it. It's the ability to show up every single day, no matter what your emotions say. Because emotions are temporary, but results are permanent. The truth is discipline will do for you what motivation never can. It will keep you consistent when everything in you wants to quit. People want success, but they don't want structure. They want freedom, but they don't want responsibility. They want greatness, but they don't want grind. And that's the problem. Everybody wants the reward, but very few are willing to pay the price. Discipline is that price. Discipline is waking up before the world does. It's training when no one's watching. It's doing the work even when you're tired, angry, or uninspired. It's saying no to the short-term pleasures that destroy long-term gains. You can't cheat the grind. You can't skip the hard part. If you want something real, you've got to earn it with discipline. Not just once, not just when you feel motivated, but every single day until it becomes who you are. Discipline is not something you're born with. It's something you build. It's like a muscle. The more you use it, the stronger it gets. Every time you choose to do what's right over what's easy, you're training that muscle. Every time you say no to excuses and yes to action, you're building the mental armor that will carry you through any obstacle. Discipline is not about perfection, it's about persistence. You don't need to be perfect, you just need to be consistent. Because consistency compounds. It takes small daily efforts and turns them into unstoppable momentum. One disciplined action might not change your life, but 1,000 will. You see, the mind loves comfort, and discipline is the weapon that kills comfort. Your brain will always look for the easy way out. That's how it's wired for survival. But you weren't born to survive. You were born to succeed. You have to reprogram your mind to understand that pain is not punishment. It's preparation. Every moment you push through resistance, you're teaching yourself that you're in control, not your feelings. And when your mind learns that lesson, you become dangerous. Because most people are slaves to their moods. But disciplined people, they move with purpose, not emotion. They don't wait to feel ready. They decide they're ready. There's a power that comes from living with discipline. You start to trust yourself differently. You stop needing external motivation because you've built internal momentum. You stop doubting your potential because every day you're proving it to yourself through action. The most confident people in the world aren't the loudest. They're the most disciplined. They don't need validation. They have evidence. They've done the work. They've shown up day after day through the pain, through the boredom, through the doubt. And because of that, they carry an energy that can't be faked. That's what discipline gives you, power that no one can take away. But discipline also demands sacrifice. You can't live a life of discipline and a life of distraction at the same time. You've got to choose. You can't scroll your way to greatness. You can't party your way to success. You can't complain your way to results. You have to give up the things that make you soft if you want to become hard enough to handle life. That's the price people don't want to pay. They want the glory without the grind, the spotlight without the sacrifice. But it doesn't work like that. The universe only rewards the disciplined, the ones who keep moving when everyone else stops. And the truth is, discipline doesn't just change your habits. It changes your identity. When you keep promises to yourself, when you push through fatigue, when you do the work even when nobody's watching, you start to see yourself differently. You stop being the person who trays and start being the person who does. You stop identifying as someone who wishes and start living as someone who acts. That's when your life begins to transform. Because success doesn't come from one massive leap. It comes from thousands of small, disciplined steps that most people are too lazy to take. Think about it. Every great athlete, every elite performer, every successful entrepreneur, they all have one thing in common: discipline. Not talent, not luck, discipline. The ability to do what's necessary whether they feel like it or not. Talent gives you a head start, but discipline gets you across the finish line. You can have all the skill in the world, but if you don't have the consistency to apply it, it means nothing. Talent fades without discipline. Passion burns out without discipline. Dreams die without discipline. It's the foundation upon which everything strong is built. And the hardest part, discipline is lonely. You'll be misunderstood. You'll be judged. You'll lose people who don't understand why you're so focused, why you don't have time for nonsense, why you choose early mornings over late nights. But that's the cost of evolution. Most people won't understand your grind until your results become undeniable. So don't explain yourself. Don't justify your discipline. Let your results do the talking. Because one day, the same people who doubted your dedication will be the ones asking how you did it. There will be days when your mind tells you to stop. There will be moments when the weight feels too heavy, when your goals feel too far. That's when discipline matters most, when everything in you wants to quit. Because those are the moments that separate the winners from the watchers. The ones who push through that pain create a life others only dream about. You've got to be willing to suffer for your vision. You've got to be willing to delay pleasure, to endure discomfort, to embrace the grind. Because nothing worthwhile comes easy, and that's exactly why most people never get it. The truth is, discipline is freedom. It may feel like sacrifice in the moment, but it gives you control over your life. When you're disciplined, you're no longer a prisoner of your impulses. You decide your direction. You create your momentum. You own your destiny. And when you combine discipline with vision, there's nothing, absolutely nothing, that can stop you. So stop waiting for perfect conditions. Stop waiting to feel ready. Start today. Build your discipline one choice at a time, one day at a time, until it becomes your default setting. Because at the end of the day, you won't be remembered for what you said you were going to do. You'll be remembered for what you actually did. And that's what discipline is, the bridge between your potential and your reality. If you want to cross that bridge, if you want to live the life you know you're capable of, then discipline can't just be something you do. It has to be who you are. Your mindset is the real battlefield, not the gym, not your job, not the world outside. It's the war inside your head that decides everything. Because before you ever lift a weight, before you chase a dream, before you take a risk, it's your thoughts that move first. If your mind quits, your body follows. If your mind doubts, your actions hesitate. But if your mind believes, if your mind is locked in, there is no force on earth that can stop you. That's why you've got to guard your thoughts like your life depends on it. Because it does. Everything you experience, everything you achieve, every ounce of success you ever taste begins and ends in your mind. Most people lose the battle before it even begins because they've already convinced themselves they can't win. They talk themselves out of greatness. They feed their fears more than their faith. They let comfort, doubt, and laziness take control of the conversation happening inside their heads. The voice that says, you can't, you're not ready, you'll fail. That voice isn't truth, it's the enemy. And if you don't learn to silence it, it will own you. You've got to flip the script and make your mind your greatest ally instead of your biggest obstacle. That's what beast mode really means. It's when your mind becomes your weapon, not your weakness. The mind is like a garden. It grows whatever you plant. If you fill it with negativity, excuses, and self-pity, don't be surprised when your life reflects that. But if you fill it with power, focus, and purpose, it will produce greatness. The problem is, most people want to change their lives without changing their thoughts. They want new results with old beliefs. That's impossible. You can't think like a victim and live like a victor. You can't build an empire with a broke mindset. You can't chase greatness while holding on to fear. You have to tear down the old structure of your thinking brick by brick and rebuild it with discipline, resilience, and confidence. Every day you wake up, you're being tested mentally. The world doesn't care about your excuses. Life will hit you hard, and when it does, your mindset will decide whether you rise or fold. That's why you've got to train your mind harder than you train your body. You can't just hope for confidence. You've got to earn it. You've got to show your mind through repetition and pain that you're not the type to quit. Every time you push past exhaustion, every time you fight your emotions and still do what needs to be done, you're building mental armor. You're teaching your mind to obey you instead of break you. When you build a strong mindset, you become dangerous, not because you're stronger than everyone else, but because you're unshakable. You stop reacting to problems emotionally and you start responding strategically. You stop letting fear dictate your future. You stop needing motivation because you've built discipline. A powerful mind doesn't chase hype, it chases purpose. And when your mind is focused on purpose, distractions lose their grip on you. The world can crumble, people can doubt, storms can come, but you won't break because you're grounded in something deeper than emotion. You're grounded in belief. Most people never reach their potential because they never control their inner world. They spend all their time trying to fix the outside, their circumstances, their environment, their relationships, but the real problem is internal. You can't fix your life until you fix your mindset. You can't control what happens to you, but you can control how you respond. That's power. That's freedom. The world will always be unpredictable, but if your mind is strong, you'll never be at the mercy of it. You'll bend circumstances to your will instead of breaking under them. There will be moments when life feels heavy, when you're tired, frustrated, or defeated. And that's when your mindset matters most. You've got to have a voice inside that says, I'm built for this. You've got to remind yourself why you started when it feels like nothing's working. Because that's the moment when average people quit and warriors rise. When your mind is wired for growth, every setback becomes a setup for a comeback. You start to see challenges not as punishments, but as opportunities. The pain that once broke you now fuels you. The fear that once froze you now drives you. That's the transformation that happens when you master your mindset. Understand something. Success doesn't come from your environment. It comes from your psychology. You could drop a person with a weak mindset into the best opportunity and they'll find a way to lose it. But you could drop a person with a strong mindset into the worst conditions and they'll find a way to win. Because a strong mind doesn't wait for opportunity. It creates it. It doesn't beg for chances. It builds them. That's why you can't afford to think small. You can't afford to think negative. You can't afford to think like the crowd because the crowd will always tell you to stay safe, stay average, stay normal. But greatness has never come from normal. You've got to program your mind like your life depends on it because it does. Feed it with power. Feed it with truth. Speak to yourself with authority. Stop saying, I hope, and start saying, I will. Stop saying, I can't, and start saying, I'm built for this. Stop asking, what if it doesn't work? And start saying, what if it does? The words you speak shape the reality you live in. Every thought is a seed, every belief is a blueprint, and every word is a command. So start commanding your life in the direction you want it to go. But remember, this isn't easy work. Training your mind is war. It's not a one-time decision. It's a daily fight. You'll have days where your thoughts attack you, where your confidence wavers, where your vision feels blurry. That's normal. The key is to not run from it, to face it head on, to replace fear with focus, to replace doubt with determination, to replace weakness with will. You've got to rewire your brain to crave challenge, to see struggle as opportunity, to embrace discomfort as the path to evolution. Because when your mind becomes bulletproof, your reality becomes unstoppable. The mind controls everything. It controls your energy, your habits, your emotions, your direction. If you want to win, you've got to win here first, in your head. Once you conquer your mind, everything else falls into place. No more waiting for motivation. No more letting fear run your life. No more being trapped by your own excuses. When your mind is strong, your grind becomes consistent. When your grind is consistent, your life becomes powerful. That's when you step into beast mode, not when you're angry or hyped up, but when you're calm, focused, and unshakably driven. So if you want to change your life, stop focusing on everything outside you and start mastering everything inside you. because the mind is the battlefield. And the only way to win is to become the soldier who refuses to surrender. Once you take control of your mindset, you take control of your life. That's when the beast in you truly wakes up. Pressure creates power. That's a truth most people run from, but the great ones run toward. Every time life squeezes you, every time you're put in situations that feel too heavy, too much, too intense, that's not life punishing you. That's life preparing you. Pressure is the process that reveals who you really are. Anybody can smile when things are easy. Anybody can stay calm when everything's going their way. But true strength, real resilience, is built when your back is against the wall and you've got no choice but to fight your way out. Pressure doesn't break you. It builds you. It exposes the parts of you that need to evolve. It tests the limits of what you think you can handle. And if you're brave enough to stay in the fight, pressure turns you into something unrecognizable, stronger, sharper, unstoppable. See, most people spend their lives trying to avoid pressure. They pray for comfort. They chase safety. They want results, but not responsibility. They want victory, but not the weight that comes with it. But you can't grow in comfort. You can't become great if you're not willing to carry something heavy. Diamonds are born under pressure. Muscles are built under resistance. Steel is forged in fire. So why do you think your greatness would come any easier? You've got to understand that the struggle you're facing right now isn't punishment. It's the price. And every ounce of pressure you endure is building something powerful inside you that no easy day ever could. Pressure is the universe's way of asking, how bad do you want it? It's not there to destroy you. It's there to refine you. It's asking you to prove it. You said you wanted success. You said you want to be great. You said you want to change your life. But are you willing to go through what greatness requires? Because the truth is, everyone wants to shine, but no one wants to burn. You can't have one without the other. Pressure forces you to level up, to grow up, to rise up. It makes you shade the version of yourself that's too weak to carry your dream. You've got to feel the heat before you earn the glow. When you're under pressure, it's easy to panic. It's easy to doubt yourself. But that's exactly when you have to stay calm. That's when you have to remind yourself that this is part of the process. The greatest performers, the elite athletes, the world-class entrepreneurs, they don't crumble under pressure. They transform through it. They've trained their minds to see pressure as opportunity. When everyone else folds, they focus. When everyone else fears, they execute. Because they know that pressure is not the enemy. It's the environment where legends are made. You don't need to escape pressure. You need to learn how to perform in it. Every challenge you face is molding your mindset, building your endurance, and sharpening your focus. You've got to stop seeing your struggles as signs of failure and start seeing them as signs of development. When life gets harder, it's because you're being elevated to a higher level of strength. Just like in the gym, the more weight you lift, the more muscle you gain. The heavier the resistance, the greater the growth. Life works the same way. Every setback, every hardship, every stressful moment is building invisible muscle inside you. And one day, you'll look back and realize that the pressure you hated the most was actually the moment that made you unbreakable. The problem is people want to feel powerful without ever being pressed. They want to stand tall without ever being stretched. But pressure has a purpose. It humbles you. It forces you to face your weaknesses. It shows you what you need to work on. When everything feels heavy, that's life saying, it's time to get stronger. You've got to learn to carry the weight with pride. Stop asking for lighter loads. Start building a stronger back. Because the more pressure you can handle, the bigger your life becomes. The person who can't handle pressure will always stay small, safe, and stuck. But the one who learns to breathe under pressure, that's the person who dominates. Pressure also reveals your priorities. When you're under fire, your excuses melt away. You find out what really matters. You find out how much you truly want what you say you want. If your goal doesn't survive the heat of pressure, it was never real to begin with. That's why you've got to stop avoiding the hard moments. Those are the moments that define you. They separate the ones who wish from the ones who will. Pressure is not your enemy. It's your greatest teacher. It doesn't care about your feelings. It cares about your focus. It's not there to break your heart. It's there to bid your heart. When you change how you see pressure, you change how you move through life. Instead of fearing tough times, you start to crave them. You start to understand that every challenge is a training ground. You realize that pressure isn't something that happens to you. It's something that happens for you. It's molding you into someone capable of handling the weight of success. Because here's the truth. Success brings its own kind of pressure. The higher you climb, the heavier it gets. If you can't handle pressure now, you'll collapse under the pressure of greatness later. The grind you're going through today is preparing you for the blessings you've been praying for. So the next time you feel overwhelmed, remember this, you're not being buried, you're being planted. And when you're planted, pressure is what pushes you through the soil. It's what gives you roots. It's what gives you the strength to rise. You've got to stop cursing the process and start trusting it. Every tough moment is carving you into something rare. Every stressful season is shaping your character. Every sleepless night is teaching you endurance. Pressure is the proof that you're in the process of becoming powerful. You will never discover your full strength until life forces you to. You will never know how resilient you are until you're tested. You will never become unbreakable until something tries to break you. So don't run from the pressure. Run toward it. Embrace it. Let it mold you, stretch you, and harden you. Let it remind you that you're built for this. Because when the storm passes and the pressure finally fades, the person you'll see standing in the mirror won't be the same person who started. You'll see a version of yourself that's stronger, wiser, more focused, someone who's no longer afraid of the grind, but fueled by it. And when that happens, you'll understand the secret pressure was never your enemy. It was your initiation into greatness. It was the fire that forged your focus, the weight that built your will, and the challenge that unlocked your power. Pressure doesn't stop the beast. It creates it. There comes a moment when the comfort zone becomes your biggest enemy. It's disguised as peace, as stability, as balance. But underneath that illusion, it's quietly draining your fire. Comfort is seductive because it feels safe, but safety is not what builds greatness. Every man or woman who ever became something more had to stand in that terrifying gap between where they were and where they wanted to be. The comfort zone is the cage that convinces you you're free. It tells you you've done enough, that you've earned the right to rest, that growth can wait until tomorrow. But the truth, tomorrow never comes for those who wait in comfort. Growth only visits those who chase it into the unknown. When you live inside your comfort zone, you stop evolving, you stop pushing, you stop learning, you stop discovering how powerful you actually are. Because power doesn't live in routine, it lives in resistance. And if you aren't resisting something daily, if you aren't uncomfortable daily, you're not living, you're maintaining. Maintaining is just a slower form of dying. When you stay comfortable, you create a ceiling over your own potential. You start making excuses and they sound logical. I'm just being patient. I'm taking a break. I don't want to rush things. But deep down, you know that's not patience. That's fear dressed up as strategy. You're scared of failure, scared of pain, scared of what people might say if you actually go all in and fall short. But let me ask you something. How do you expect to find your greatness if you're not willing to go through the growing pains that come with it? Nobody becomes unstoppable by playing it safe. Nobody develops a beast mentality while sitting comfortably, waiting for the perfect conditions. Comfort is a slow killer. It doesn't destroy you in one blow. It eats your potential piece by piece, day by day, until one morning you wake up and realize you've been asleep your whole life. To step out of your comfort zone, you must first change your relationship with pain. Most people see pain as punishment, as something to escape. But champions, they see pain as proof. Proof they're growing, proof they're evolving, proof they're alive. Pain is the language of transformation. It's the signal that you're stepping into new territory. The first time you push yourself harder than ever before, your body screams, your mind resists, your comfort zone calls you back. But if you stay there long enough, you'll realize something incredible. The discomfort starts to feel like home. The more you expose yourself to challenge, the less it scares you. That's how beasts are built. Not through comfort, but through consistent exposure to adversity until adversity itself becomes comfortable. See, when you embrace discomfort, you unlock levels of strength you didn't know existed. Most people never find out how far they can go because they never allow themselves to reach the edge. They stop when it gets hard, not realizing that right beyond that wall is the version of themselves they've been dreaming of becoming. That wall of pain, that resistance, that doubt, that's where your transformation begins. Every great breakthrough in your life will require you to outgrow your comfort. You can't stay soft and expect to become solid. You can't stay scared and expect to become unstoppable. The beast mentality isn't about being fearless. It's about moving forward even when fear still whispers in your ear. It's about knowing that fear is part of the process, not a sign to stop. Leaving your comfort zone is an act of faith. Faith in yourself, in your ability to adapt, to overcome, to rise again after failure. You don't need to have it all figured out before you take the first step. You just need to trust that every time you move forward, you'll learn what's necessary to survive the next level. You won't be perfect, but you'll be stronger. You'll be wiser. You'll be more dangerous. Because once you learn to survive outside your comfort zone, nothing can scare you back into it again. You'll start to crave challenge. You'll begin to understand that the grind is not punishment, it's preparation. The beast doesn't fear hard days. The beast lives for them. The beast wakes up knowing that comfort is the enemy and pressure is the path to power. You have to stop asking life to be easy. You have to stop waiting for motivation to hit you. You have to stop expecting results from work you never did. You want to grow. Step where it's uncomfortable. You want to succeed. Do what you don't want to do. You want to transform. Go where you're afraid to go. Because the truth is, the person you are right now is not the person you need to be to get where you're going. That version of you must be broken, tested, reshaped, and fire. That happens outside comfort. That happens when you push yourself beyond what's convenient. That's where you find your limits and then shatter them. So look at your life right now. Look at what's too easy, too repetitive, too predictable. That's where you're trapped. That's where your potential is being held hostage. Start with something small, wake up earlier, train harder, take that risk you've been avoiding, have that uncomfortable conversation. Do something every day that challenges the soft part of your mind that loves to settle. Because every time you break your comfort zone, you're building your mental armor. You're building the muscle that refuses to quit. You're becoming immune to the excuses that used to control you. The beast mentality isn't something you're born with. It's something you create through consistent defiance of your comfort zone. Every day you wake up, you have two choices. Go back to what's familiar or push toward what's possible. One path keeps you safe. The other builds your legacy. One keeps you small. The other makes you unstoppable. You can't live both ways. You either choose growth or you choose comfort. The seventh keynote, dominate every single day like it's your last chance, is not just a motivational phrase. It's a way of living, a mindset, a code that separates the average from the absolute savage. The people who win in life don't treat each day as something to survive. They treat it as a battlefield. They wake up with urgency in their blood. They understand that every sunrise is not a routine. It's an opportunity. Because here's the harsh truth. One day, that opportunity won't come again. One day, you won't have another chance to fix your mistakes, to chase your dreams, to push harder. One day, time will stop giving you extensions. That's why the ones who truly rise in life live every single day like they're running out of time, because they are. When you adopt that mentality, something changes inside you. You stop wasting time complaining about how tired you are, how unfair life feels, how hard the grind gets. You stop waiting for the perfect mood or the perfect situation. You stop giving your emotions control over your execution, because domination is not emotional, it's intentional. You dominate because you made a decision that no matter what happens, no matter how you feel, you're showing up with intensity. You're showing up with hunger. You're showing up like your dream depends on it, because it does. That's the difference between those who win and those who wish. Wishing doesn't change your life. Work does. Relentless, daily, consistent work. Done when it's boring, when it's painful, when no one is clapping for you. That's what domination looks like. Everyday life will give you two choices: to coast or to conquer. Coasting feels good. It feels easy. It makes you feel in control, but it's an illusion. Because while you're coasting, someone out there is grinding. Someone out there is training harder, staying longer, studying deeper, sacrificing more. And when the moment of truth comes, that person will take what could have been yours. Not because they were more talented, but because they were more relentless. The world doesn't care about potential. The world rewards pressure, hunger, and action. You can have the best plan, the biggest dreams, the highest intelligence. But if you don't execute with a killer instinct every single day, you'll be forgotten. Domination doesn't happen by accident. It's a product of daily obsession. It's the result of deciding that average is not an option. When you dominate your day, you don't let distractions lead you. You lead your focus. You wake up with clarity and you end the day with evidence. Every single task, every goal, every small action, it all matters. You stop letting days slip by with empty progress and start demanding results from yourself. You stop saying, I'll try, and start saying, I will. You stop looking for motivation and start creating momentum, because domination is about consistency over convenience. It's about saying no to comfort so you can say yes to greatness. The mindset of domination also means you refuse to give in to yesterday's success. You don't celebrate too long. You don't relax just because things are going right, because success can make you soft if you let it. You must stay hungry even when you're winning. The moment you start feeling comfortable with where you are, the grind stops and decline begins. Every day you must find a new reason to push, a new level to reach, a new part of yourself to break through. The beast mentality means never being satisfied, never letting complacency whisper in your ear, never letting the fire fade. You must fuel it daily with discipline, not emotion. Domination also means accountability. You don't blame circumstances, people, or timing. You own everything, the wins and the losses. You stop saying, I didn't have time, and start admitting I didn't make time. You stop saying, it's not fair, and start saying, I'll still find a way. Because when you own your reality, you control your reality. The moment you take full responsibility, you take back your power. That's what dominating looks like, being the kind of person who refuses to be a victim of life. You become the one who shapes it, molds it, forces it to bow down to your will. That's power. That's dominance. But domination doesn't mean burnout. It means precision. It means you move with purpose, not panic. You don't just work hard, you work intentionally. You're not busy for the sake of being busy. You're building momentum toward a target. You plan your days like a strategist and attack them like a warrior. You study your weaknesses and turn them into weapons. You track your progress like it's your life's mission, because it is. Every single day you dominate, you build confidence. And that confidence compounds. It becomes your new identity. You stop wondering if you can win. You know you can. You start living like you've already won, and then you make sure you keep winning. People often ask, what separates the great from the average? It's not talent, luck, or opportunity. It's domination. The greats don't wait for opportunities, they create them. They don't wait for motivation, they move with discipline. They don't care about conditions, they care about control. They treat every second like a weapon, every failure like a lesson, every success like a stepping stone. They don't talk about what they're going to do. They're too busy doing it. That's what dominate every day truly means, not being the loudest, but being the most consistent, the most prepared, the most unshakable. You have to start seeing your days as your currency. Every day you waste is a deposit into regret. Every day you dominate is a deposit into legacy. And the truth is, nobody can do that for you. Nobody can grieve for you. Nobody can sacrifice for you. That's your job. That's your responsibility. That's your gift. So wake up tomorrow with one mission: to dominate, to give your absolute best to every second, to squeeze every ounce of potential from your day until there's nothing left. Because the grind never stops, and neither should you. When you live like that, everything changes. You stop waiting for the big moment to change your life because you realize the big moment is built out of 1,000 small days you dominated. You stop chasing motivation and start living with momentum. You stop being another dreamer and start becoming a doer. And that's when you finally understand domination isn't about beating others. It's about becoming so consistent, so disciplined, so focused that you beat who you were yesterday. That's the real victory. That's beast mode. That's the mentality that separates winners from watchers. And when you embrace that fully, when you decide to dominate every day like it's your last, nothing and no one can stop you. At the end of the day, everything you want in life comes down to one thing: how bad you're willing to fight for it when no one's watching, when no one believes, when everything in you screams to quit. The grind doesn't care about your feelings. Success doesn't care about your excuses. Life only answers to those who show up again and again with fire in their chest and purpose in their steps. You've got to understand something. Comfort is the killer of greatness. Every second you spend wishing things were easier, someone else is out there training, grinding, building themselves into something you'll have to compete against one day. And if you want to win, you can't afford to take your foot off the gas. You can't afford to coast. You can't afford to let your dreams sit in the passenger seat while you drive your life into mediocrity. The truth is, most people never make it because they stop when it hurts. They stop when it gets quiet. They stop when no one claps. But the ones who break through, the ones who leave a legacy, they don't stop. They might bend, but they don't break. They push through pain, through pressure, through fear, because they've made a decision. They've decided that comfort will never control them again. That's what beast mode really means. It's not just about power or toughness. It's about refusing to settle. It's about standing in front of your goals every single day and saying, I'm not leaving until I conquer this. When you live with that mindset, something inside you transforms. The fear that used to control you becomes fuel. The obstacles that used to intimidate you become motivation. You start to realize that all the pressure, all the struggle, all the moments where you felt like breaking, they were molding you. They were preparing you to handle the weight of success when it finally comes. So when people tell you to take it easy, smile. Because they'll never understand what it takes to be built different. They'll never understand what it means to wake up every day and declare war on average. So right now, I want you to make a promise to yourself that from this day forward, you'll never waste another sunrise. You'll never let another dream die because of fear. You'll never let another opportunity pass because of comfort. You will grind when you're tired, push when you're scared, and believe when no one else does. You'll keep evolving, keep rising, keep showing up like your life depends on it. Because it does. Every second counts. Every choice counts. Every day counts. So turn your pain into power, your struggle into strength, and your doubt into discipline. Because the grind never stops, and neither should you.